fellow fan geeks, it's your fangirl Tally, and today we are doing something I really need to do for my own sanity. We're doing Let Me Solo Her, his story. Now this is a video by evanf1997, and it's the one that came up, so it's the one I'm watching. I'll explain later why, but yeah, let's get into this.
Elden Ring is the latest entry in From Software's library of unbelievably difficult games that went from once cult classics in Dark and Demon Souls to now becoming such a powerhouse of a collection that as of March 19th of 2022, Elden Ring has sold over 12 million copies worldwide.
Wow.
There are hundreds of hours of content to play, and so much variety in terms of builds and progression that this game is timeless, just like the past From Software games in similarity to it. But I don't think anyone outside of your small percentage of Souls legends were prepared for one boss in particular. You may know that this company has a history of game philosophy of pitting the player up against tremendous odds in the hope of giving players the sense of accomplishment by overcoming those odds.
Well,
Names that you may be
point,
familiar with, like Ornstein and Smough, the Fume Knight, the Nameless King, the Orphan of Kos, and Sword Saint Ishin all shared this philosophy. But Elden Ring is a different animal that has different rules. You see, there is one boss in particular I would argue From Software pushed to be harder than every other boss we have listed. Hell, harder than any boss that From Software has ever made. With so little room for error, players quickly felt something had to be wrong. This boss's name is Malenia, Blade of Miquella, and not only was she in all of the promotional material for the game to establish her notoriety, she also lets you know her name every time she kills you to cement that you'll never forget that very same torturous name.
I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella.
This boss has been criticized by many for being too hard.
Wow.
Some say she's fair, while others say From may have jumped the gun. Well, in the face of all danger and all doubt, one legend arose. One Tarnished was summoned to be the community's archangel. This is the story of how one player took the narrative of the hardest boss From Software has ever made and flipped it on its head. This is the story of Light when the narrative was full of rot. This is the story of Let Me Solo Her.
What the hell? WTF, guys. I'm sorry.
Let Me Solo Her story couldn't have been made so big without a boss that fit the bill for that to happen. Obvious spoiler warnings for those who haven't finished their first playthrough.
Okay.
After hours of everyone's first playthrough of Elden Ring, there is an option.
A spoiler warning for those who have not seen any of my other Elden Ring videos. First, you should go see those as soon as you finish this one. Once you've subscribed to our channel, right below. Editor Hubby is on his 6th playthrough of Elden Ring. And I've been present for bits and pieces of each and every playthrough. So some of this I may know or not know. Just in case.
Boss met all the way up north of the map. Players must first find both halves of the secret medallion, which can be used to unlock a hidden path through the Grand Lift. If the player finishes a puzzle in a town and lights all the stations, they can take a portal on the north side stairs. They are then transported to the Halleck tree and have to fight in the toughest area of the game. Platforming, difficult enemies, and a true Souls experience of getting killed around corners and through walls. After beating Loretta and making your way through the castle, through swamps of rot and the Erd Tree mini-bosses, the player ends up in the roots of the city. To the left is a large fiery orange flower, and down the stairs is the hardest boss I have ever faced in a video game. Now, I have beaten every boss in every FromSoft game. I have beaten Day 1 raids in Destiny 2. I have killed Sigrun, Queen of the Valkyries in God of War on the hardest difficulty. But this boss,
I've heard God of War.
This boss was just absurd. Very little room for error, almost no time to heal, and a boss that heals herself every time you are hit. Now, these attacks could already be seen as ridiculous, but fair.
What?
There is only one that most players agree
She heals
is way
herself
too
by
much.
hitting you?
What is called the waterfowl dance attack sends a burst of her katana in 3 different outputs. Malenia leaps in the air, then slices and dices twice, then jumps on the other side of the player to slice and dice again. Now, this has iframes, but only just enough that the player would need the perfect timing to dodge these with the correct directional inputs. This attack, if hit by most of it, will kill the player. If you do survive with the perfect timing of iframes, you may wonder how you pulled it off. And if you opt to run away with the perfect timing, you'll probably be hit, but you'll at least be able to heal. And the boss will heal a lot off of this.
Yeah,
so
I was
now
gonna
you've
say
been punished for doing what
that
you thought was
move right
okay.
there.
I want to ask you who's watching, whether you have fought this boss or not. Do you believe that this attack is fair? Is this something that is too much, or is this acceptable? Whether fair or not, I think it only adds to Malenia.
Do you think that's fair? No, that's cheating. That's like going to a paintball and they get to use real bullets and you have to use paintball rounds, or they're using BB guns and you're using paintball. There's a big freaking difference. That's cheating. Tell me what you think below. Am I overreacting? Am I a wimp? I'm a wimp. I know I'm a wimp. Shut up, editor hubby.
Malenia's notoriety around the community and fandom. Oh, and she has a phase 2 with even more aggression.
What? Why does she look like a kitsune? Why does she look like Naruto? What is going on?
Joseph Anderson, a very well-renowned critic, made his first video in years discussing Elden Ring and From Software's boss design, especially in the late game. Anderson used an example of how many attacks could be combined in a row with no predictable rhythm, and how it only served to hurt the game, since pulling off a 3-combo attack may result in more RNG than it does actual flow state of a fight. This has been debated back and forth by the Elden Ring community, and fans and longtime fans alike have had the back and forth as a result. I think time will be the best judgment, and as we learn how these bosses work in the future, community perception will probably change on bosses for better or worse. A lot of people opted to use the now infamous Rivers of Blood build, since it's a fast combo with a ton of damage and stagger potential. And it brings up another debate. Should bosses in From Software games force a player to rethink their builds? Should every weapon be acceptable to use? Well, seeing Zero Lenny pull off a torch kill on the boss makes it seem doable with any build, but Lenny is a legend who's been doing these types of challenges forever. So should it take that kind of player to pull off a kill with any weapon? Well, one type of player did pull it off under their own terms. A faceless player, sporting a pot on his head and wielding double katanas. A player so dedicated to being the hero when all seemed just so rotted. A player named Let Me Solo Her. Let Me Solo Her. What a perfectly fitting name for someone who's ready to take on Elden Ring's hardest boss. On the surface, Let Me Solo Her is just some dumb internet meme. And you're right. But there's so many layers to this one. Let's get started with the story. On April 12th of 2022, Reddit user Sazed813 makes a post titled, "Here's to an absolute legend, let me solo her." Sazed would go on to describe the struggles of Malenia and how when all hope was lost, he looked to his summon sign on the ground, a way for players to enjoy co-op and get help with the bosses that they typically can fight together. The name Let Me Solo Her popped up on the ground, and in that moment, Sazed knew to back away and let our hero take the fight.
It was a man wearing nothing but a jar on his head and holding two katanas named Let Me Solo Her. I considered against it, but I was curious, and who am I to deny him his wish? He was flawless and put all my attempts to shame. I definitely didn't kill Malenia, but either way, she's dead.
After this post started to blow up on Reddit, Let Me Solo Her himself chimed in to show the world who the unsung hero truly was. In a post titled, "Let Me Solo Her," our pot-headed hero spoke about the situation, saying that, quote,
"If you've been playing Elden Ring and have tried to fight Malenia on PC, you might have crossed paths with a summon called Let Me Solo Her. I've been helping countless Tarnished in their quest to defeat Malenia by going butt naked, except for a jar on my head. Please enjoy this video of me soloing Malenia as a third summon. My sign will be down for Desperate Tarnished. As always."
So wait, he's just out there doing his thing.
This now infamous video of Let Me Solo Her not taking a single hit the whole fight, teasing the boss, not spamming very overpowered weapon arts, and instead opting to toy with the boss, has now garnered the attention of well over 1 million eyes. And the world watched as our modern day hero in games shook the playing field. This story went everywhere on the internet, and there's no short reason for that. Let Me Solo Her didn't just kill Malenia, he toyed with the hardest boss in the game, all the while being mostly naked. Making your character naked in From Software games is usually a sign that you're so experienced with the game and have mastered every aspect of it so much that you don't even have to worry about being hit. And in the words of our legend, Let Me Solo Her, in an IGN article, he says that, quote,
"Why wear armor if you don't plan on getting hit at all?"
Let Me Solo Her would quickly take over the
Good
internet
point.
as a newly established icon. A player so against the grain of the narrative that has been set for Souls-like players, and against a debatably broken boss too. Fan art would quickly take over the internet. 3D models of him too. Videos all over the internet would pop up of people summoning in Let Me Solo Her himself. The pot on his head may have marked the love for the NPC Alexander, or if you have not seen it, the new global Twitch emote rightfully named Pot Friend. But the meaning of not showing his face adds even more weight. We have timeless heroes in stories that never reveal their face, and Let Me Solo Her not revealing his and opting to keep the pot on only adds to the legacy. Now, Let Me Solo Her's journey wasn't all perfect, as he would go on to explain in the IGN article that it originally took him over 242 attempts to slay this boss. Now, a lot of us would opt to quit in that moment right there, or opt to just cheese her with some very overpowered builds. But he stayed persistent, learned every single move, and overcame the boss the way we can all hope. And now, Let Me Solo Her has lost count of how many players he has helped defeat Malenia, with the estimates in the 3 to 400s. Another thing to note about being summoned to help another player is that the boss will also scale in health to fit the amount of players in the lobby. So in the legendary video, Let Me Solo Her was fighting a harder version of Malenia with desync and lag to match. An unforgiving hitbox, a naked character so one hit could mean he was dead, and opting to not use very strong weapon art. It feels like Let Me Solo Her is truly a sensei of Elden Ring. Quickly, there was copycats of our hero, and everyone in the community wanted to be him, helping out in fights and being an overall friend in the community. There was even an article saying that Let Me Solo Her bailed on someone for trying to help him in the fight. But it was quickly proven to not be true, as our hero said he would never bail on anyone. One day, he hopes to move on to a second game, but has appreciated the admiration from Souls fans as the community gets criticized for being gatekeepy and rude. But it's stories like these that prove what you hear is not always true. I think there are always dark sides to every community in any walk of life, but players like Let Me Solo Her just opt to prove that the world is a good place. We just need to summon that side of it. As for Let Me Solo Her's channel, Klein Suboy, he has only posted one video since then, but I plan on watching the legend develop even further.
Stop right
there.
This
is not just a feel-good story for Elden Ring.
I know what you're thinking.
This is a good story for the world. In a time where games can feel so toxic and gatekept, Klein was able to show us what it truly means to be a gamer, to pick someone up when they're struggling. So, here's to the legend of Let Me Solo Her one more time. Our modern day Leroy Jenkins. A hero with a pot on his head. I want to thank you all for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, a subscription would be greatly appreciated. I know my audience is used to watching my Destiny content, but I want to start branching out and expanding on gaming community stories across the board. I hope you liked this one, and as a reminder, I do stream on Twitch, as well as having a Discord for all the best moments in gaming to talk about. Thank you, everyone. Please follow Klein and his journey, and until next time, have a great day.
Alright guys, what did you think? Should I go ahead and watch the next one? It's a continuation of his journey. What was that? Comment below and let me know. Remember to like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Both really help our channel out. And remember to hit that notification bell so that you get notified. I cannot English today, can I? So that you get notified whenever we drop a new video. Until next time, guys. Bye.